G'day guys, thanks for joining me on this short flight from Osaka airport to Niigata. It's only a 52 minutes flight time, this one, so it's a very quick flight, but if you want to come along with me, hopefully you get to learn something new, and through your comments I might learn something new as well. Alright, so in the simulator it is currently, I think it's about 5 AM local time. In the real time it is actually 9 PM local time in Japan. And let's assume that all the passengers are on board, all doors are closed, and looks like they're already armed as well. And we're sitting at spot 26 in Kansai Airport in Osaka. And we'll do an early morning flight across to Niigata, which is, yeah, as I said, it's only 50 minutes away from Japan. We'll be flying northeast direction. Just to put you in the scene, right now the weather conditions in Kansai Airport is quite a benign weather condition. Wind is 220 at 18 knots, so it's favoring runway 24 left and right. And fuel 3000 feet, 10k viz, and scattered height unknown, temperature 21 and 1016, which converts to 3000 inches in QNH. Our destination, Niigata. Currently it's 3603 knots, cab okay, so very light wind and cab okay weather, and it's not forecast to change much according to the TAF. So I'm hoping to shoot a visual approach into Niigata, just for my own practice as well. Righto, so let's get it started. And yeah, feel free to drop comments on YouTube if you got any questions or comments, advice, or whatever you may have to say. I can definitely see comments on another screen, so yeah, I should be able to respond to you. Okay, alrighty. Okay, so where are we? Let's say it's a turnaround, and the pilot flying and pilot monitoring, they both completed their preliminary cockpit preparation, so that includes agreeing on the takeoff performance and so on. So we already worked out the V speeds, and they already punched into the MCDU. So pilot flying scan, pilot cockpit preparation scan. So I'm going to go ahead with the overhead scan. So the recorder, ground control needs to be on, and all the lights are set. Seatbelt sign is already on. AP bleed is on, and fuel pumps are on as well. Yeah. And yeah, what you're looking at is normally 6 lights on the overhead panel. So that's the cockpit voice recorder, ground control button in on position, and also 2 generator fault lights should be lit. That's normal. And also the APU bleed and the APU master switch and the start avail green light as well. Alright, so once you finish with the overhead panel, pilot flying will go ahead and go through the front panel here. So 3000 is the QNH, and the correct indication on the standby altimeter. It's reading about, I don't know if it actually says negative there, but that's close enough, it's within tolerance. And you'll be also checking the status page and make sure the pressurization is in auto, which it is. We'll set the parking brake, make sure the accumulator pressure goes up. sorry, the brake, yellow brake, hydraulic pressure goes up, and the accumulator pressure is slightly below the green. Normally you would ask the ground crew to just keep an eye out for any flight control surfaces or landing gear doors, if you want to pressurize the yellow system to pump it up, but we'll just skip that for today's purpose. The anti-skid nozzle wheel steering switch must be in the on position. It never really goes to the off position in normal SOP. Righto, so that's done. So we're gonna move on to the pedestal panel. I've actually got a couple of other screens set up, so I can see the pedestal panel without looking down on the virtual cockpit, but of course you can't see that, so I'm just going to move the view for you. Alright, so I'm gonna go through the audio control panel, ACP, and make sure you got all the appropriate knobs pulled out, and also I do want to listen to PA during the flight, just in case there's something happening in the cabin that I should know. So but yeah, I normally just got it pulled out, but got it tuned to a low volume. The weather radar panel, obviously radar must be off, and also predictive wind shear system must be off as well. The spoiler must be in the retracted position, of course, and it is important that you check the cockpit door operation if your national authority requires you to check it, but we'll skip that for today's flight. And then we'll go through the engine master switches in the off position, mode selector in normal, and rudder trim, parking brake is on, and the gravity gear extension lever must be in the down position unlocked. We'll go ahead and move on to the third column, if you like, of the center pedestal, and normally pilot monitoring, or the FO, will do his or her panels there, but for today's purpose I'm gonna make sure I've got them all tuned, and the transponder panel, make sure the transponder is in standby position, and also TCAS is also on standby and above. Okay, now we'll do the radio management panel, so RMP. So I am on VATSIM right now, and there is Unicom frequency on VATSIM, which is 122.8, which is basically a pilot-to-pilot frequency. So I'll have that tuned just so that I can make broadcast and be aware of any other traffic in the vicinity. And the FO side panel, I'll just leave it 121.5 as the standard SOP. Alrighty. Now we can go ahead and look into the FMGC. As I said, everything is set up already, so I'm just going to quickly check with you guys what I'm looking at, and to make sure everything is correct. So aircraft status, correct aircraft. Make sure it's not A321 or 19 if your airline flies both types. And CFM 56 5B4 is correct, and the database is the 20th of May to 16th of June. Today is the 1st of June local time, and it is covered by the current nav database. And idle factor and performance factor depends on the airline you fly for. Many airlines do have utilized the idle and performance factors. And yeah, if that's the case, then you must double check it, cross check it with your flight plan numbers, and if you need to change it, you put ARM in there. And let's say you got a idle factor of say 3 and the performance factor of 1.5. Type it in and it goes in. Okay, and I'm just going to delete it for now. Can't delete it. Okay, I'm not sure how to delete it now. I think I need to go ARM first, and then while it's blue, you gotta clear it. Nope. How about 0/0? Maybe some of you guys got a better idea. There you go, 0, 0. And then I'm gonna clear the ARM. There, back to 0. Okay, and now position monitor page, and we'll check all the IRSs in nav, and the drift values are within tolerance. Select a navigate if you got any north-amped navigates along the way, and if the northern says yeah, a particular navigate is unreliable, and then you must deselect, just so that if you lose GPS, FMS will not be confused by erroneous navigate information. Okay, so we're going from Kansai to Niigata, and company route alternate is in fact, I've actually nominated a different alternate today, and it's Sendai, which is on the other side of the Honshu Island, which is only about, I think it's only about 25 minutes flight from Niigata, and call sign APJ314, index of 40, and flight level 320. In fact, I actually planned on 370 on the flight plan, so I got 370. And default drop on ground temperature, they are fine. Now we're going to go to flight plan page, and you'll be checking out your SID and your routing all the way to Sendai. And I've already checked all the stringing and the coding along the way, and KCC to Azumi is actually direct, so I'm just going to get rid of that discontinuity. Normally you don't do this lightly in the real world, but for today's flight, I know this is correct routing, so I'm just going to delete the discontinuity, and everything's connected up. Alright, we'll put the star in there a little bit later. And then secondary flight plan, we'll just copy the active for now. You can utilize secondary flight plan for any engine out procedures or return to Kansai, however you like. It's up to you. And the radar page, we'll have KCC tune there, and you can normally leave them soft tuned or auto tuned, but if you need to put any particular waypoints in there, that's within your rights to do so. And then we'll go to init B page, which is all about weights and fuel. So zero fuel weight today of 127.5, that's 12,750, no, that's 127,500 pounds of zero fuel weight, and CG is 31.2. And the block fuel today of 11.9 kilopounds, that is, so that's 11,900 pounds of fuel, and that will make our takeoff weight of 139.0 and the landing weight 134.1, and obviously both are below the landing weight limits. So taxi fuel 0.4, and trip time saying 48 minutes, but that's without the trip windy, and 33 knots right now. I think it's actually less than that. I'll confirm it in a minute. In fact, I'll just confirm it now. Stand by. Okay, so here's a flight plan that's on PFPX app, and today tailwind of 28, so it's pretty close to what I already had inserted there, but plus 28 gives you a tailwind of 28. And just bear in mind it doesn't contain any stars in there, so it's bound to underread, so it's showing 48, but the flight plan is still showing 52 minutes, so I allow that discrepancy. It's pretty reasonable. The route reserve, which is also called variable reserve in some parts of the world, normally it's 5% or 5 minute of cruise, whichever is more. So 5 minutes is approximately 4 pounds, or so, or 40 pounds I should say. I'm just going to put in 0.4 there, just to make it more accurate. And what have we got here? Minimum destination 3.7. Yep, that's for diversion to Sendai. And alternate field 1.5 is the minimum, but flight plan says the alternate field to Sendai is 2.9, so that's what we're going to put in there. 2.9 to Sendai, and that gives us extra of 15 minutes. So that gives us, doesn't really give too much of a margin for error. So if you do divert, if you do go around in Sendai, you got to make up your mind pretty quickly whether to go to Sendai or keep on shooting approaches into Niigata, which you can do in flight. You don't need alternate if provided your destination weather fulfills certain requirements. Righto, where are we now? Okay, so now that we've covered the init B page, we're going to look at the performance page. So we check in the V speeds and flaps and flex and so on. So we double checked the V1, VR, V2 speeds. Transition 14000 is correct, and there's no noise abatement of runway 24 left, so we'll set the both reduction altitude and acceleration altitudes to 1000 feet AGL, and we'll do config 2 up 0.4, 68 degrees of flex, and the engine out acceleration is 1510, which is cross-check. Climb page, pre-selected speed, nothing's required at this time. If I need to make tight turns, I normally just use expedite climb or selected speed. And the cruise was 7.9. Yeah, we'll see. We probably want to reduce it to 7.8 or something to give us a little bit more margin, unless it's perfectly smooth during cruise. Descent speed of 790 to 310. We'll definitely have to reduce that to prevent any overspeed events as we come out of tailwind. Nothing in approach page, and that's fine. The progress page, we're cruising at 370, optimum of 365, that's pretty close to our cruise level. Rec max is 395, so we've got plenty of margin. And Kansai 24 left is set on my page, and we've got nav accuracy high, and the required is 1, and estimated 0.09, very accurate. Cool. Alright, so that's all the FMGC setup complete, and when pilot monitoring comes back into the flight deck, we will voice check. We will go through the glare shield. So the FD's QNH, any EFIS selection, they don't need to be the same as the other side, but they need to be useful. The settings must be useful to each pilot. And pilot flying will set the actual FCU, and it is important that you check a dash dot heading vs 6000 dot dash, and that's kind of a standard format you'd see unless you got pre-selected heading for radar departure or something like that. Okay, then if your national authority requires you to do a oxygen mask check at each leg, you can do that now, and you can do that do it in this simulator as well, but yeah, you really need to use 2 fingers to do it, so I'm just gonna skip it for now. And I'm just gonna check my tiller. Oh, just as well I checked it, the tiller is not connected right now, so I'm just gonna connect the tiller to the USB. Hopefully it recognizes. If it doesn't, we might have to modify things. Yeah, that's no good. I don't think it's recognized. Side stick works. Dear, because it wasn't connected when I first started. You know what, guys, I'm just gonna save this flight and I'll be right back, okay? Stand by.